Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another Scale Riders podcast, episode number 219, with your host 65 Locs. Hope you guys are doing well. Man, it has been a minute. I would say close to a month. I have not done an episode. Sorry about that. It's a trip. How time flies, you know. When you miss one episode, then it's like, all right, next week or whatever, and then you miss another one, and the next thing you know, it's like a month just goes by, and you're like, dude, what the heck? What's going on, right? And I'm pretty sure a lot of you are probably wondering why hasn't there been any podcast episodes that have been published. And one of the reasons is, in the beginning of the month, my daughter had gotten sick, so during I would say 30 minutes before I was going to go live on YouTube, my daughter had gotten a fever, at night. But right before I was going to go on, her fever just blew up. It went up super high. And, there was a couple friends who knew about the situation, with that. They would check in and stuff. But I don't know. I guess I was thinking she would be fine or whatever, because my fiance was taking care of her, But then it got me worried, So I was just like, it's best not to. And my homie Shane was gonna be the guest on this episode, and I know he's I believe 3 hours ahead of time, from my time, and we were good to go. We were chatting and everything, and then once that spiked up, I reached out to him and was like, dude, I'm gonna have to cancel tonight's episode, and we're gonna have to postpone, and thank you, Shane, for understanding. He, such a cool dude. I've known Shane for some years now, and he understood and everything, and he said, yeah, don't trip, just do what you gotta do. And we didn't go live, nothing happened. And even after that, nothing's been set yet, just because I didn't know what was going to go down. And I waited out a couple weeks out, but she got better, no more fevers. It was just it was a few days of fevers, and then we took her to emergency room and all that good stuff that you got to do, because as a parent you freak out, what the heck, this is out of my control. Let's take her to someone that knows more about this and see what's going on. And she's doing a lot better now. She's in good spirits, and it's part of growing up. She's gonna be 3 this August, and kids are gonna get sick, they're gonna get better, they're gonna get sick, and all this is doing is just empowering their immune system. So it's just, you just gotta go with the flow. And those are those moments when life kicks in, where as much as you want to do something and you just can't, it's out of your control. You have to put family first and do that, and just got to be there, especially for your kids. So after that, I was just it was kind of hard for me to get back into that flow, into that minded state, because even though a week had gone by and she was doing much better, it was just really hard to get back into it in that moment. And then I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna chill with her. So putting her to sleep, and then her knowing that I'm there and everything, and for whatever reason she might need me, and then just time went by, and then the second week hit, and by the time the second week and she was all good to go, she's going back to daycare, she's back into her routine of things. We're going outside and playing and going for our walks and all that stuff. Now I was like, all right, cool, it's time for me also to get back into a flow of things, and one of the things that helped me get back into the flow of things is the Aoshima build-off that's currently going down right now, that's being hosted by the Now or Never build-off. And this is a 2-month build-off that's going down, right now being already the end of June. we're completing this first month. July will be the second month and the last month, right? End of July, cars got to be done. Pictures have to be submitted, and all this is part of the participation. So, I wanted to talk about my build just to keep you guys updated with, what's going down with that. And, when I was picking out what car I wanted to do, I wanted something that was going to get me excited, but at the same time, something that was a bit challenging, like, just to challenge myself, like, all right, I'm looking at all my builds that I have in front of me on my bench, and I remember learning this on this build, learning this on that second build, on the third build, and so forth. What is it about these builds that I'm missing, that I have not done, or what mistakes that I do on these previous builds that I don't want to do on this newer build? I started to really think about all this. So there was a lot of thinking involved behind my build and coming down to the selection and finally narrowing it down to a Nissan Cedric that I was like, I really like the box art. The box art is speaking to me, and this is the direction I want to go as far as a kit and going more for an older style car. That I was like, yeah, this is what it's going towards, right? And I started to do research on the car, as far as customization. What is out there, right? Because we always look for photos of cars to get inspired, to get ideas, and to see just things that maybe we don't see when we look at a photo until you find a video and someone points out the before and after, or this is what I did to the car. That makes it more exciting. So I started to look up this Nissan Cedric, and I could not find anything on this car. There was really no photos of it. The closest thing I found was a build that was just slammed. That was it. And it was just sitting there chilling. And when I found the video, it just showed the owner, getting it fully stocked, working on it, and the mods were more of lowering it and the paint job. And it had more of a silver metallic paint job. It looked beautiful car. But I guess I was just looking for more, as far as customization. I wanted to see just something very different. The closest thing to customization was Bozozoku cars, but not really on that model. It seemed like that particular car isn't really flipped. There's not really much. It's all the other cars from that era that are more modified, and then I started to brainstorm the era, okay, this is more of a 70s style era car, leaning into those 80 years. And I was like, if I really own this car, what would I do to it? And I started thinking, more of when I'm looking at it, okay, I definitely want to shave off the door handles, which you wouldn't see this in real life on a Cedric in Japan, but for me, I started to think all right, I'm from here, from California. I've gotten a taste of the lowrider cars from seeing them at shows, growing up, being around them, and then being exposed to the custom world as well, seeing them at shows, and from previous builds too, from customs, Hudson Hornets and the Mercs and all that I was like, okay, I kind of want to grab a little bit of both worlds and incorporate it into this Japanese car that I really like the body shape, and I feel like this is a good foundation to be able to go off of this and build on it. So the first thing was I need to shave everything. I need to shave emblems, signal markers, door handles, anything, if the windshield wipers weren't molded, but if they were going to be molded, those were coming off, right? the little vents that are above the hood, you know, before you get into the front windshield. I filled all that in right there as well, and I just started prepping the body. And you know, from previous builds, I feel like I've got my motivation would die out a lot of the times while I was prepping the bodies, because it involved a lot of glue and a lot of sanding. And I noticed by the time I was ready to go to the next step, I always felt like I was never ready, because I would always find a little lump or something uneven, or I needed to fix this, a little cavity of glue that broke off that I needed to refill. And no matter how many times I refilled, that cavity would keep coming back. So this time around, I started to really use more of styrene to fill in areas, and then put a little bit amount of glue around that area to have less sanding going on, which made it a lot easier to fill in things I needed to fill in. There was little vents that were at the front of the nose that, when you look at the box art in the stock car, I mean, it looks cool, like that's part of the design. But in my mind, I was like, if this is a custom car, that's being filled in, that's going away. It's gonna look funny like before I put the headlights on, but for now, that's just gonna be built in smooth. And then, you know, my choice of primer was the gray primer, so I started adding the gray primer on there. And you know, in my mind, I was already visualizing, okay, what is going to be the final result of this car? How is this car going to look? What are the colors am I going for in this car? What type of paint am I going to use on this car? Because I've been using a lot of splash paints, great paint line. And I was like, you know what? It's been so long since I've used House of Color. And if you're going to do a custom paint job, I mean, House of Color is the true king when it comes to custom paint, because you can intermix their whole full system. It all works well together. Everything from metallics to, you know, flakes, pearls, candies, and on top of that, to finalize everything with the show clear. I was like, this is the direction I need to head. So I started to select as far as colors go. You know, it's been so long since I purchased House of Color from painting, you know, years back, that one thing I learned is, and when I was fairly new to it, I was just buying so many colors like crazy. In my mind back then, I used to think, oh yeah, I'm going to use all these colors. You know, when I bought the KK candies, candy concentrates, I bought the whole full set, because they were offering the set, and I figured, oh, I'm gonna get bang for my buck, like a value, because I'm buying the set. But little did I know is that I never even really got to use the whole set. A lot of that paint it didn't go to waste. I ended up giving it away later, but it was a small amount of paint that I was using. And in that moment, I was buying, like, trying to collect all the pearls, all the metallics. You know, I was collecting all different colors of flake from different brands. I was just going crazy with it, you know, just spending a lot of money. But I also wanted to understand the system, and if I was gonna learn, I needed to invest and spend all this money on all this stuff. You know, it was lasting me a long time, and I wasn't really getting around all of it, because I was working with small scale cars, 1/25th scale. You know, some that were 1/24th, but majority was 1/25th. And if I was doing 1-to-1 stuff or anything bigger, like the size of a skateboard, a panel, obviously all that paint would have been gone quick, because then, you know, I'm using more material. But since I was using, you know, less material for smaller items, it was lasting me a lot longer. And I was also, you know, only selecting certain colors for certain builds. So now, leading up to this newer purchase that I was going to be doing in this year of 2023, I decided, okay, I'm only going to buy certain colors of candy. As far as a silver, Orion Silver Max, Show Clear set, and then also the, I think it's called Bright White or Pure White base coat, pretty much. And what else did I get? I know I got the candies. I got the blue candy, purple, pink. Some of my favorite colors right there. As far as the blue, it's the Oriental Blue candy concentrate that I got from them. SG100 as well. And I just started like gathering everything I needed as far as my paints, my clears, and I had to bust out with Tropical Glitz Platinum Plus Flake that I've had in the vault for like a minute. I have not used it for so long, but I kept it. I mean, that stuff is so good, and it goes a long ways that I was able to like pull that out too. I started mixing some of my paints and getting things prepped and ready. Finally, one of the first steps after the car was ready for paint, I started to spray the body all white, and I did it with the House of Color, spraying at about 18 psi, and Iwata Eclipse airbrush with a 0.5 millimeter needle. And once I covered up the whole body all white, I started painting other parts of the car. So let me go back real quick just to kind of explain the visual of what I have for this car. So I'm gonna just tell you guys right now what it is. So as you guys hear this, you guys are pretty much already gonna know the direction I'm headed, but it won't be until later where you're gonna see what I'm talking about, the final product, because it's already been painted. At this point I'm at the stage where I just need to clear it now. I haven't shown anything really. I've been showing a little bit of it, but basically what the visualization for the car before I had even started was the car is gonna have blue candy, white pearl, a flaked roof with blue candy painted over that blue flake. The fenders, the side fenders for the wide body, and also the front bottom lip piece and the back wing is also going to be flaked and going to be painted with the same blue to match the roof. All right, and so in order to get to that point, that's the end result right there. So the beginning stages, hitting it with the whole body all white, right? Using the House of Color from the Shimmer 2 line. And then after that is, dried and all that, ready to go. The next layer of paint would be my white pearl. And this is my white from the PVC line. And this is called Snow White Pearl. Such a beautiful, like really nice color. So the whole body is pearled. As far as like the fenders and all that, I'm not touching that just because it's, that's like a whole separate project right there. So on the body, it's the body and the hood and the trunk, because I had cut out those pieces out. So those everything was taped together, painted the whole body all pearl. On my Instagram, I did show the car already pearled white, and now that the car has been pearled, the next thing that I wanted to do was shoot it with the blue candy. And recently I had announced I had done a print featuring Armando Flores. Armando Flores had recently done the Pink Motel presentation at the location of the Pink Motel out in the valley. And there's so many photos that my friend Vision 124 had sent me, and I had posted some of them on Instagram. And there's so many good shots in there. And there was a couple shots that just, my eyes gravitated to those two pictures. And, you know, I wanted to put together this print so people can have this. You know, anybody who orders from the website right now until I run out is going to get one of these for free. I reached out to Armando and I asked him if he would be down to sign them as well. So Armando, being he's always been a supporter of Scale Riders. He's like, yeah, for sure. Let's, and it was cool because we got to get together, we got to hang out, we got to have some lunch together, catch up, talk about paint, talk about just projects, different things. He brought out the Heart of Gold build. Like it was cool. I even got to take a picture with it. I had to hold it and to see all this work that went into this car. So it was cool, like talking and he surprised me because I had shown him and I've been talking to him about this build as far as what I'm gonna do. And then he was like, I have a gift for you. And I'm like, he's like, I brought you this. And it blew me away. Like it sidetracked me. And he gave me paint. And I feel like that's always like a painter giving another painter like a gift. Like paint is always been like, it's like a big gift right there. And it was something that was very rare too, it's Murano paint, but this is like a real Murano paint. It's not like something that's being produced like now. This is something from like the past, right? And I mean this was gifted to me with the shimmer of the color that I wanted to go with my build. And he was telling me like, you need to use that on your car, like for sure. Like this right here, this stuff's gonna be dope. So, I after my car had already been, hit with pearl white, I went ahead and went that next step. All right, cool. Now I need to dust the car with this Murano pearl. So I started hitting the body with the Murano pearl, and then I went back out and I started looking at it under the sun. By then, now I see this pearl, it's taking effect, and my car is like glowing like under the sun. And I was like, dang, and in any direction where the sun was hitting it, it was just like more vibrant. And that's what I've been looking for. I've been looking for something like that. That's just gonna like it's gonna be vibrant, whether if it's in the sun or even if it's not even in the sun. As long as there's some type of light, the color's gonna glow, let's say, right? So I hit it with that, and then I let that dry out. Finally, when the time came to candy the car, I had my blue candy ready, and I went and I started hitting the panels on the car that I wanted it to have the blue candy. And along with certain fades of pearl that went in certain areas, finally the body was done. I was like, cool. I did a little bit of candy for the interior, not too much, just a little bit, something that I would be like, all right, in real life I'd probably do this, this is the way I would want it to look from here and here, and that's it. Finally, the time came to work on the fenders. So I proceeded from the gray primer. I proceeded to now spray over that gray primer with the Orion Silver Max, which gave me a nice coverage. And if you compare Orion Silver Max, which is the newer color from the Shimmer 2 paint line, compared to the Orion Silver is great, but this other one is a lot more brighter. It's like a lot more richer. Like the metallics that they're using there they're more blingy, and you get better coverage, and there's just more benefits. You could even tint the metallic if you wanted to, but I wasn't going to tint it, but that's optional. So I went ahead and I sprayed all the fenders with Orion Silver, and after that I got, the following day I got my flake, and then I flaked the fenders. I flaked all those parts. When the other car, the body was all dried and done, right? I started to backmask the whole car because I was gonna flake the roof. So I have to cover the whole body. I only need to expose what I want to flake. So I went ahead and I used my Infinity cutting mat. I laid out a piece of a 3-inch size 3M tape, green, laid it on my cutting mat, and then with my hobby knife, I started to cut out 1mm lines straight of tape, and I started to layer that over the window trim around, the back window and the front window, and also along the side. There's a trim that goes on along the side on the upper part of the body. So I had that all backmasked, lined up, and then I started to finally layer my bigger pieces of tape. So I started using Tamiya tape for certain areas, and then the rest was all FBS tape, the gold FBS tape that they sell in a 3-inch size to protect the body on the sides. And once everything was all backmasked, I went back into the booth and I started to spray the Orion Silver Max over the white hood. Over the white roof. And I got it all covered up. I later waited, came back, and now I flaked the roof. It was all flaked. So now I have the flake on the roof and the flake on all the fenders and all the other parts that I wanted flaked. So, the more I'm looking at this car, the more it's speaking to me. And I started looking at the interior. I had shown on my Instagram how the dash, I cut out a lot of the buttons, a lot of the stuff, the glove compartment, all that stuff. I gutted it all out and I just made it really smooth. Just more of a custom look. The interior, you're looking at the interior side panels from the doors, and it's the same. You see, like, to roll down the windows and, like, the levers and the armrests and all that stuff. And then all the little details, of how the original car is. And I didn't want any of that. I was like, how is this car going to be custom from the outside, custom from here and there? But then those things are still the same as a stock car. I didn't want that. So I started to use my Tamiya scriber, and it's the 0.1 millimeter scriber, and I started to scribe out the doors, like the inside panel doors, scribe them out, and then the let's just say like the frame of the interior, I got flat styrene, about the same millimeter. I believe it's like a 1 or a 1.5 millimeter of styrene sheet, or 2 millimeter, and I just traced out the exact shape of those interior door panels, and I scribed them out. So now I had a flat surface, the whole shape, and then I scribed out the doors, like the line of it, right? So I was like, all right, cool. So I sanded that down, I prepped it, I went ahead and sprayed it with primer, and then I came back with the pure white, and then I hit that finally the whole thing with pearl white. So then I laid out later, when it was all dried, I ended up laying out tape. I cut out the tape out, so now the frame is being protected. That's what's going to stay white pearl, but the inside door panels are going to be exposed. So taking out the tape and exposing those parts, now I'm able to hit those areas with Orion Silver Max. I spray them with Orion Silver Max, then later I come back and now I flake the inside of those door panels. So on the original, I really like the armrests because they just look super chill, like there's not much going on, they're not all that busy. So with my my nippers, I started cutting it out and I sanded it down, and I just got it to like, all right, cool. I could still recycle these and use them on the new door panels that I created. So now I'm at that point where the side panels are already, like I was describing, they're flaked, but then the frame of it is in pearl white. And now the next step that was needed is I need to candy over the flake, because I wasn't going to just leave it like that, the platinum color that it is. I wanted to flake over it. So I went ahead and prepped my candy, House of Color candy, and I started to just spray it. The session was all done together. And the reason why it's all done together is because you want to see everything match as close as possible and remember the passes that you're doing on these parts. Because with House of Color candy concentrate that you mix up, it's very transparent. In the bottle, it's transparent, but it looks dark. But it all depends on how many coats of that transparent paint you lay over. So if you're going over it and you do, let's just say you do 3 passes or 4 on one, and then another one you do like 6, another one like 12, and you put those all together, it's going to be completely different. They're all going to come in different shades. And that Oriental blue is such a beautiful color that it's always going to come in a different shade. And I had remembered when I had done my 67 Impala, there was a section of blue that I really like on that body that's what I was aiming for, to try to get it to match the body of this car that I had already painted, right? So then when I started canning over the roof flake, I had to count the passes of how many times I'm going over this. And then when I went towards like the wide body fenders, the same, I had to do the same thing. The interior door panels had to do the same thing. So I'm counting as I'm going, and I'm also looking at it under the light and even taking photos, because sometimes our eyes don't grab everything. But when you look at it, when you snap a photo, the photo captures everything. And then I was able to like compare, zoom in, and see like, all right, cool, And I finally was like, all right, cool, this is the last coat. I don't need to go more than this. This feels right. I really like the way the color is now. Finally, I stopped and I just put everything away. Like I was saying, I'm at the stages now where I just need to clear coat this car. I need to seal everything in there. I know more clear is going to have to go into the flake to bury the flake to get a smooth finish. So I'm going to have to, I'm hoping tomorrow, which is going to be Saturday, start and do a clear coat session with the show clear. Once I'm done with the session, I'm gonna have to look at everything, and most likely, I'm pretty sure the body itself, I'm gonna have to wet sand, get it nice and smooth, and then the roof. Wet sand it lightly, not too much. I don't want to burn through any flake, and then come back and get it ready for a second coat of clear. The sides will be like coated really lightly, just because I don't want it to get too thick and looking like weird. I would say where most of the clear would be the roof. But I'm also going to be careful not to overdo it where, I don't want any runs on this car, right? And another thing is, from what I've learned, is when you're working with show clear, it will give you some of the best results when it comes to a custom, paint job and the end result. But one thing is, you need to be patient when it comes to that one. Because every time you spray a layer of paint or a clear, you want it to cure. You want it to cure enough till you get to your second stage of clear. Because if that first layer, if you hit that and it doesn't fully cure, I mean, not fully like 100%, but like a point where all right, it's ready to grasp the next, and you keep layering more and more and more and more, you're gonna start to get pops and just like things from the bottom trying to break out because it's trying to breathe, it's trying to like do its thing, and it's almost like each layer is fighting each other. It's not letting it break through those doors, So for example, my first coat of clear would be more of a mist coat, like a tack coat that would be applied to the body and everything, the full thing, right? So I would start a tack coat on the body. I let that sit. While that's sitting away, I start on the fenders one by one, taking my time, getting that tack coat on everything, right? But at the same time, I'm gonna have a timer going on. This timer is gonna be set for, not yet, sorry. You're right. Once I start with the body, the timer is going to start 15 minutes for this tack coat, right? So the minute that I spray the body and I put the body away in a little case, I start the timer. That's the way I do it. And this is my way, the way I'm explaining it. And then I start with every part until I get to the end. All those pieces get put away. By the time I'm spraying like the last pieces and I put it away, there's still time on the clock, right? There's still time going on. Finally, that alarm's going to go off. Boom. By the time the 15 minutes go off, I'm going to go back. I'm going to check the airbrush and then refill it with more clear if I need to refill it with more clear. Make sure that the area is still clean. It's not contaminated. There's nothing in the way. Make sure everything's cool because we're going to come in now for the second session. I pull out that model, and by the time I'm going to go back and spray it again, 5 more minutes had already passed. So I reached like that 20-minute mark, which is fine. And then now I hit it with the medium coat. And I put it back into the case and I reset the clock again. But this time instead of 15, now I boost it up to like 25 minutes. And now I come back and I spray all those parts, medium coat everything. They're all done. They get put back in a little case where nothing's gonna fall on them or whatever, no particles or whatever. And then I'm still chilling, 25 more minutes, 25 minutes. And then that's done. I take a look, make sure everything's cool. By then, a lot of this clear has already flown out. It's already like in its position, somewhat leveled out, By the time I'm gonna get to my third coat, the second coat is already like, it's almost like it has its arms open to give a big hug to what's gonna come towards it, that third coat of clear. By the time I spray that third coat, I'm already, when I look at that clear, like especially the roof or the side doors or whatever, I'm already starting to see a reflection of myself wearing the mask on there. Once I start seeing that, I already know that, bam, like I made it to this point where we're coming to an end. And it's something that's very fascinating that I love when I'm spraying the clear over flake, because you start to see the flake, everything in the candy activate. You start to see it come to life. You start to see it bloom for what it is, for its existence. You start to see its job. If it's a flake, it's doing what it was meant to be. It's to sparkle and just shine. Candy, it's doing what it was meant to be, a really rich, transparent color. And it's just, I've always liked that part of seeing it just come to life. Once everything's all said and done, I put everything away. I start to clean out the area, clean out the airbrushes, like just putting lacquer thinner, doing spray outs and all that good stuff. Once a lot of stuff's like put away and other things are thrown away, then I can go back in there and really clean that airbrush, because sometimes the clear gets on the needle, it gets on certain areas where it'll dry and it'll get stuck. So a lot of times I just like pull a lot of that stuff out and I just clean it with lacquer thinner and I just lay it out, and I don't put nothing in until like later. And then as far as like the parts and everything, if I'm spraying it Saturday, I'll check the parts the next day, and within 24 hours it's cured, but not fully. I don't like to touch my models like that right away. I like to wait. Like, I like to peek through the window and just see it, and that's it, but I'm not going to touch it. And then finally, I would say by like 3 days that go by, then I'll start to really like get a little bit more closer to it, to see it and stuff, and be able to like now touch it, get it off the stand, maybe do a quick little mock-up or something. But when it comes down to wanting to like wet sanded and all that, I'm gonna still wait at least like a couple weeks or a week for that I'll come in and I'll, depending what I feel with my fingers. If I feel little bumps, if I feel anything sharp, like just something on the sides where maybe it came from debris, things that I need to smoothen out, then I'll come in and I'll start with my polishing pads from God Hand, and I'll start polishing the body with it, coming out with like the 88,000 grit or 8,000, no, 88,000, what the heck am I saying, 8,000 grit or 10,000 grit, I start hitting it with all that and just getting it like nice and smooth. Before, if needed, most likely I'll have to re-clear again, especially to cover up that flake, and I'll get all that going on there. And then what's all that's all said and done, then the final thing later would be to polish the car with my polishing pads and my Meguiar's compounds and get all that. But while all that's going on, while I'm doing all that waiting, I still need to finalize the interior. I need to glue parts together, and and just other things like finalize, like what's the next step, and then just start getting it done, start putting it together from there. But it was cool, man. Like, so far this has been a really fun, pleasing build. It's been making me step back into that custom stage where I really want to like explore more colors and experiment with like different things and different methods from the products of House of Color to be used, and at the same time, I'm just looking forward to painting more cars, and especially not podcasting, not be able to record anything because of the scheduling. I'm at least able to channel out, the hobby, the creativity, like something through building. If I can't speak with my words on a podcast, for now, I'm speaking with my hands through my model. That's pretty much what's going down right now, and I just really want to just showcase some of the stuff that I'm doing, just to see like that final the end result right there, with the color choices that I went with this build. And I mean, so far I'm just like, I'm happy with the direction that it's going with. As far as interior, a couple things I want to share that I'm excited about is, Gavin from Japan. He has some great products on his website, lowrider model car parts. I'm going to be using it was this heart-shaped steering wheel collab that he did with Cruisewell and Detail Junkies. And man, it's like a chrome-plated heart-shaped steering wheel that just fit the car perfect. I was like, this has to go with this. And it also has a photo etch piece on there. It's all being put together on this build. The steering column is from Mr. Model out from Brazil. It's a really nice aluminum machined steering column that's coming out from Brazil. And I carry those in the store. I'm out of them, but I'm getting more. They're on the way. I had ordered more from him. Both of those two pieces complemented each other really nicely, and they're going together on this build. As far as the seats, I was originally going to use there's 2 stock seats that come in the car, but in perfect timing, I don't know what the heck, I was tripping out on it. White Chocolate 124 from Spain that I met in person earlier this year in March had listed on his Instagram account, new seats available now. I was like, wait, what? And I started to look at all the seats, and I was like, dude, these are all dope. And there was 2 sets that he had done that I was like, oh man, these 2 sets are contenders right here for this car. They just had that look that they would flow with this car. And I went ahead and put in my order. He got those to me, and I have the seats. I did a little mock-up with them, and with one of each, just to see which one. And the decision's been made. I picked out the pair of the 2 front seats that I'm going to go with. So just knowing that I'm using, products from a couple friends, I'm excited to use those in this build right here as well. So I'm like super hyped. And then there'll be other things that I'm most likely going to implement as I go. It just depends, like as I do these mock-ups and I'm getting closer to those completing stages. Next month of July, it's a lot of days in a month, 4 weeks, and I have enough time. I feel like I'm in a good pace with the build, but I also don't want to lose any time, because I do want to see this build be completed, so I'm just following the steps. I'm following what I'm visualizing in my mind with this build, what needs to be done, and I'm just following through. The opportunities I have, I'm just taking advantage of them and just working at it little by little. But please make sure to check out my Instagram, where I'm going to be showing more updates, weekly updates with the build itself. I know I could easily just post everything, but I just kind of want to be patient with what I'm doing, because I know you're supposed to submit photos too, so I'm also doing that. So I'm just like patiently waiting with what I'm doing as I'm going, and on the posts as well. So that's kind of what's been going on. If if you don't see no episodes coming out, like I was saying before, I'm like in this like creative zone right now, and I don't know. I'm recording this right now because I'm driving. I have the opportunity, and I've had all these like things regarding my car that I wanted to talk about, that I wanted to share with you guys, and I was like, this would be perfect time to advise you guys, that you guys know kind of where it's at with my build, and go from there. This is a long weekend. We got 4th of July coming up, and I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people traveling, going places, sightseeing, going to visit loved ones, planning on going to see the fireworks, all that good stuff, right? And most of us, we're just chilling. We're just chilling at home, staying local. We don't gotta go nowhere far. I'm not trying to do nothing crazy. Probably because I've been, you could say I've been traveling all the time or do crazy stuff all the time. This is the time when I calm down, and if you have the days off and you have the time, good time to be on the bench and work on stuff, catch up on stuff. And one thing that I was telling one of my friends, Rudy, about this build that's somewhat different from all my other builds is, prior to me starting it, I already had a really good visualization of how I wanted this to look in the end. And I know as I go, I will improvise things, but for the most part, I had, I guess you could say, like a 90% finish, like in my mind, like how I want it to be. I'll leave the 10% to the improvisation of whatever. Maybe I'll add a little thing here. All right, cool. But the rest still remains. And I think what happens is when I look back at previous builds, I didn't have that visualization too much. I had it up to a certain percent, a really low percent, where I could tell you, yeah, this car right here, I'm going to customize it. I want to open up the doors. I want to do suicide doors, suicide this, suicide that. And I also want to fill in these areas and mold this, and this, and this. But when you came down to the real questions as to like what wheels you're going to go with, what color you're going to go with, what about the interior, what color, those questions, it was really hard to get an answer out of me for that, just because I didn't really have the visualization of how I wanted it to be at the end with the paint or what I was going to do. And I was just focusing on the before anything gets started to kind of look, the fill-ins and all this, that finally, all right, yeah, like kind of just waiting for, the color will come to mind one day. I'm just waiting, I'm waiting, and then finally the color comes, cool. And you're still going with the flow of things, but then it's a really nerve-wracking, stressful thing, and it takes more time. And then finally, what kind of wheels? And you're kind of like, damn, at this point, this is like, I'm just going to get whatever wheels I come across, or maybe if somebody's selling a set. But this is back then. This is before Lowrider Model Car Parts came in the scene with their products, right? Now it's like, I'm going with these wheels, and they're available. Back then, there was stuff that was never, like, it wasn't available for a minute. And it's just one of those things where it just, things were always like at a pause, at a halt, and then later I would like, I'm gonna work on the next build, and another one. And next thing I'm not getting nothing done, and I feel like this one being something different, where I see the end result, I visualize it, like I already picture it done in my hands, like I already could picture that. So all I'm doing now is just following the steps that I know I need to follow to get to that point, to the final point. And I feel like before it was a bit of a mystery, a bit of like, I still need to learn that skill. I haven't learned it yet, or I don't even know how to do that. I don't even know how to wrap my brain around that, And now I'm just applying what I've learned. But I'm still learning along the way. I'm learning how to save more time, how to save, certain tape outs and certain things. So I'm just like, all right, cool. This has been going like pretty smooth so far. Like, I know everyone's different. Some people are like already had that, that visualization. They've always had that. And I know others that haven't had that, and maybe you're in a situation like me where you have it or you don't, and then later like, oh yeah, like it comes up, but it will come, it's just after like working on builds and we're doing stuff that stuff will definitely showcase. It's just for now, like it just hasn't happened, But yeah, it's a trip, man. It's a trip with the model building, like all these like little tricks and things that you learn. And one of my friends was telling me, man, you could ask the same question, right, to any painter, and everyone's gonna give you a different answer, but they're all very similar. It's all the experience, It's based pretty much. I'm still gonna be exploring the House of Color line, like things that I want to add to my builds. I'm still trying to explore different things there with it. So I've been keeping my eye out on other products that they've come out that I've never touched, because I've always kind of kept to like, everyone's been using this for so long, so let me stick to that. But there is new stuff in the newer formulas and whatnot that I feel like I need to also explore and get right into and just buy it and try it. A lot of this stuff I'm lucky enough that I can get it almost the next day or in 2 days from Coast Airbrush, based out in Anaheim. By the time they ship it ground, it's already like on my doorstep the next day. I'm not too far from them. I'm probably about maybe an hour, I would say an hour distance with no traffic, but with all this crazy traffic, at least hour and a half, almost 2 hours, from there. But it's a trip. It's a trip. They carry a lot of the stuff that I like, and especially like the House of Color line. I only need, candy concentrate. I only need 1 ounce. 1 ounce is gonna run me a long time. When it comes to pearls, 4 ounces is cool. Orion Silver Max, the same. 4 ounces is cool. Unless if I'm painting like crazy all the time, then yeah, I need way more ounces. But for now, like that's good enough right there, But yeah, like I was saying, once I get this build done, I can't wait to work on the next one and just start working up my confidence with more again with custom colors. It's been so long, it's been so long, and it's getting to the point where I need to start messing around with more stuff and just kind of just going from there, because there's a lot of neat things, a lot of cool stuff that's dropping and coming out, and I just want to be able to like do something nice as far as the paint jobs come out and all that, but yeah, like you guys that are out there right now building your models and working on stuff, keep me posted, tag me, whatever you guys got coming up, updates, whatever post you do on Instagram, just tag me on there, because this way it makes it easier for me to find you on my tag, and I could always reshare what you guys are doing, even like on the DMs. Like if you guys tag me, I get notified, and it's easier for me to just share the tag on there. The button, it gives me like the share button right away. They keep updating Instagram all the time, and it's in there, so I'm able to just like share your guys' stuff. I'm always happy to share on there. Anything model related is cool. Sometimes I get tagged for one-on-one scale stuff, like cars that I don't know. I'm like, what is this? Like, I think you're talking to the wrong person, or what. I don't share that stuff. I don't know. I just don't feel like it it flows or it goes with what I'm doing, with the content, with the page and stuff. But if I could like influence or inspire or help you guys get more of a reach, more eyeballs to your current build or what you got going on, cool. I'm always down to share that, for sure. But right now there's a lot of cool paint systems. There's a lot of cool things, and if you feel like it's time to explore something different, try something new, go for it. There's a lot of colors that are out. Even like Tropical Glitz, they have a really dope urethane paint line of paint, automotive paint that they have out right now, and they come out with a lot of colors too. I mean, that's something where I'm also gonna have to explore in the future too, because their catalog keeps growing as well. That keeps like I keep seeing them post new colors, and there's just so many combinations when it comes to like custom painting. It's insane, it's crazy. But I still like like factory colors, like especially if you're trying to do like a replica of a build that pertains to that was released from that company, that car company, and you want to do a car with like Millennium Jade, things like that, like for sure, no doubt you got to get that color. Or you want to do a Midnight Purple, you got to get it. You got to get the OG. You got to decide, do I want the 1, the 2, or the 3, which version? There's just so many versions that are out there. It's kind of crazy, but I'm still down. I'm still down for all those, like the stock colors too. It's just have fun with it. We got to go back. Why are we doing this? Why are we building models? You got to think about that, because the other day I was opening up a box of a model, right? Like, and parts were kind of scattered in the box. Stuff's on the tree, and then there's just wheels right there. And I was staring at it, and I don't know what it was, but as I was staring at it, it's like I zoned out into what I was staring into, and it took me back. It was almost like it was knocking like on a door in my head, and it was like that door of that memory, that thought of like when I was like 13 years old, 12 years old, building models, seeing like the mindset, like that feeling I got when I opened up a model kit. The ideas, just things that ran through my head, and always kind of dreaming that you own the car like this. And also I was just thinking, like, how crazy is it that back then I was so limited to just the tester's glue, the tester's knife, and whatever spray can I could get my hands on. And that was it. That's all it was getting a kit, opening it up, twisting off the parts off the tree, using the hobby knife just to cut out certain little edges or little spikes that were coming off the part because I twisted it off, because I had no idea you needed nippers. I had no idea any of those tools existed. And just putting the car together, not having no sanding paper to prep the car body, to even wash the body, to even wash off all those oils or whatever from my grubby little hands, probably eating chips or drinking a cold soda on a hot summer day, and just grabbing the model and telling my friend, oh, that's what I'm gonna do, and then shaking up a spray can and just spraying it on top of a box and letting the sun just bake it, but just having so much fun. As a kid, you have to be 18 years old to buy a spray can. Your parents don't even want you to be messing around with spray cans, because the first thing they know you're gonna want to go tag up some walls, maybe write your name or just paint over something, And it's not even about that you're doing something bad. Like grabbing a spray can and writing on the wall is not like a bad thing. It's just it's being created into a bad thing. Like, oh, that's the law. You're not supposed to write on a wall. You're gonna get a ticket, you know. And it's like, oh, now you're being labeled as, oh, you're a tagger or not even an artist. You're just a tagger, you know. It's vandalism. But if it's your own wall, it's not, you know, because you can erase it. You can do whatever you want, right? But I don't know. I'm just going back to when you're a kid, you get curious. You want to know what's going to happen when you grab this jar of magic liquid paint that when you shake it up, you hear a marble. Especially growing up playing with marbles, you're like, oh, is there really a marble in there? No, I heard there's a steely in there. Oh man, I need that steely. So when this can goes to waste, I'm gonna cut this can open and I'm gonna take the steely from the inside or whatever, right? And I'm gonna use it when I play marbles or whatever. I don't know, going off on a little tangent right there. But you know, we get curious. We want to see, oh, I wonder how this is going to look when I spray it on a wall. I wonder how this would look if I spray it over this piece of plastic. Ooh, what if I put it over glass? You know, you start getting really, really curious about everything. And to be a kid and for your parents to be like, yeah, you want to paint that model? I'll buy you a can. Here, cool. Or you know what? There's cans on the rack in the garage. I'll let you use this one, you know? Just having that liberty of your parents being like, go for it. Or even an uncle or a grandfather, you know? Being so down with the cause of you building a model. That's the support they're giving you. By giving you that freedom, that confidence of knowing how to open up a can, popping off that cap, knowing how to push down on that button when you're a little kid and you're using all the might and force in your arm to push down, and sometimes those damn things get stuck or you can't even push them down, or after so many pushes your fingers get tired and sore and you're like, dang, I barely painted one side of the car, I still gotta do the other side, and my finger's already shot, like it's gone. I need to do the other finger now. I need to work with my like middle finger or the pinky to press down on this button, or my thumb, right? And then over time, you start getting better at it and better at it, right? And I was just thinking, like, dang, that's crazy. Like, that feels like another lifetime, sort of, to now being an adult. I'm 40 years old right now. You know, I turned 40 this year. And it's like 40 years old right now in a time period where we have so much technology, we have so many smart people, we have so many like engineers, technicians, people that have knowledge. You know, I can hit up Armando Flores, I can hit up Daniel Valencia, I can hit up Rudy Munoz, Gary Seeds. We have so many people that we know that we could hit up for information. And these are people that are willing to give you the information, right? So many like ideas, so many things that it's all there. The models are there. The tools are there. The paint is there. And it's like we're back at it. Still doing something that we were doing back then. But now it's at a whole nother level. And the time is now. Whatever you want to do, the time is right now. What are you waiting for? You know, if you're asking people about an airbrush, what do you think about this airbrush? What do you think about this airbrush? And you've already asked 5-10 different people about the airbrush, and you still haven't pulled the trigger. Pull the trigger and buy the airbrush, because they've already answered the question. Just buy the airbrush. If the airbrush is going to cost you $150, $200, $250, get it. Who cares? Just get it. Because right now, this is the life you're living. You're living right now. Buy it. I don't know if you're waiting for another lifetime. Maybe in another lifetime, you won't even be building models. You know, right now that we're living in this lifetime and we're conscious, buy the damn thing now and try it out. Try it for yourself and give it a year. Give it a year of trying out. Figure out what's going on and see what kind of performance it gives you. And from there, start looking into other things that's going to help you up your game. If the same with the compressor. If you have a compressor that you're like, man, this thing's noisy, the thing runs out, it doesn't even have a tank, it's just a pure machine that produces the air, and it's this and it's that, it's time to get rid of that thing. Get rid of it. Donate it, toss it, discontinue, like just don't use it. Retire it. Put it away. And now is the time to buy the compressor you've been dreaming of. If you look at Iwata's website or you look around on Instagram and you notice all these artists, every type of artist that's rocking Iwata, see which one they're using and why. Look at the CFM that it produces. And like, just look at all this stuff. Finally, you narrow it down. Like an airbrush artist right now, like a dope one, is gonna cost you like $400, maybe $500. A dope Iwata compressor. Save up your money, buy it. Buy that thing now. Because trust me, it's gonna help you level up your game. It's gonna help, dude. I'm telling you. Because there's a lot of things, man. Like, I was talking to my friend Javier. We're having this conversation. We're talking about lacquer thinners and other products that you're not able to buy them in California because California just rules them out. This cannot be sold here because of the VOCs and just the level of it. They don't want that chemical being exposed too much in the state of California. But every other state has it, right? If you're a pinstriper and you need like certain lacquer thinner, mineral spirits, turpentine, all these products, all these solvents, you'll see all these badass pinstripers from Arizona, from Texas, all these other states, Florida. They have access to all this stuff, and they're busting out, and damn, they're busting out fucking dope. Sorry for my language. Here, I mean, people are busting out right here too. But here, when you're new to the game, you're gonna struggle because you're looking at, oh wait, they're using mineral spirits. Cool, I need that, and then you get it. But you notice that what you're using isn't the same what they're using. It's the same label, but it's not really the same type of chemical. So you're like, man, like, I guess I'm not cut out for this. I guess I'm not good. I guess I suck or whatever, or I'm going to give up. I've been at it for years. I followed all the instructions. I followed everything that I've been following this artist forever. I've talked to all these artists and they tell me the same thing. Nothing's coming out. But then later what people found out is, oh, the hack is I actually need to make a trip out to Arizona, buy all this stuff, and bring it back. Because they won't ship it to me, you know, and because they just won't. And now you start using that stuff and you're like, dude, now I'm busting out. Now I'm killing it, right? And they're doing their thing or whatever. And I feel like it's the same thing with when it comes down to painting even models. I mean, if somebody's coming to me and asking me like, yo, like I want to do something custom, like this and this and this, I could explain the formula to you. I could explain the way I do it my way and this and this and this and that. But if we don't have the same tools, if you don't have an Eclipse, you have something different. If there's certain things that are different, we're using different primers and we're doing everything. It's not gonna come out the same. It's just not. And in my mind, I'm like, dude, I wish you would have the Eclipse. I wish you would have this. I wish you would have da-da-da-da-da, right? Because I want you to see results, Yeah, there's people that naturally are just born talented, that these dudes, anything they touch, they'll bust out with it. You have artists who use a cup and could put a straw in a cup of paint and a second straw to just blow air and to spit out the paint, and they could do a fade, right? Just to exaggerate. And these fools are talented. You got dudes on the street with rattle cans that are doing artwork on Hollywood Boulevard that are selling these dope art pieces that almost look airbrushed, but it's all rattle can, and they're twisting their hands and fades and this and this and that. And we've all seen this stuff. We're on YouTube, These are dudes that are naturally just born. They're born talented like that. And, it's just one of those things where the natural born talent, and then us, we have to buy this stuff. And we have to give it a go, and we learn as we go. And then we get to that point. Like, all right, cool. I feel like, I'm there with you now. Like, I feel like, all right, cool. There's some progress. I'm headed in a good direction and whatnot. And if you've always dreamed of having like a dope setup, hey, you know what? Like, what's holding you back from not deserving that? You deserve it. Like, why not? If you whatever is gonna give you satisfaction, that like you want to take your stuff to the next level, you gotta have some prime tools, some prime stuff, some good stuff. If you're using some tape that's like whack, and you're like, man, I keep using this tape and it's all sticky and it leaves residue and this and this and that, get rid of the tape. Even if you just bought it and just toss that thing, you're saving yourself a headache. Buy FBS tape, buy 3M tape, buy that good stuff right there. And I don't know, just something to think about. There's all those products, all these companies carry all this stuff. It's out there, because when you have the right tools and the right materials and stuff, it saves you time. It saves you so much time. And you are going to get the people that are going to be like, oh, I created this, I create my own stands, and I create this and I create that. That's cool. That works for you, dude. But it's not going to work for everybody. It's just not. Because I know I've attempted to like, oh, I'm gonna create my own stand to hold this. It never worked out for me. Oh, I'm gonna attempt this because like, back then this was it just didn't work out for me. I bought the Tamiya stand set. Easy. Worked like a charm. I was like, dang. And I was buying these back when, with Hobby Lobby back then. And I bought one and I was like, dude, I need more. Then I bought 3 right away. And now I'm working on like, back then I had 3 projects on rotation right there. And I was like, damn, this is dope. It's saving me a headache, saving me time from trying to build these things. And I have them. I made, go with what works for you. If you want to build them, go for it. If it works for you. But if it doesn't work for you, then don't, But this is if you want to up anything, you want to up your skills. But the time is now. I mean, if you've been telling yourself, I've been wanting to buy this for the last 5 years. Nah, man, I don't know what you're waiting for. You're only holding yourself back. You gotta do it now. You just gotta take that plunge and do it. But I'm happy from a lot of you guys with what you guys are doing. I saw this, man, it's really dope video of these like little, like tuner cars. I think it's called tuner kits or something like that on Instagram. This dude did like he 3D'd up a car and it just looks so dope. Just something different, really cartoony. I never done a car like that. And I purchased the file and my friend Rudy printed it for me. And I just got it today. I'm like driving in the car. I have it with me and I'm just like, dude, like I can't wait till after, you know, I'm done with the Cedric to like almost like take a little break and like work on this car, get it primered up, and then just like go ahead and spray some paint on it. You know, it looks cool, man. Later I'll show some maybe a photo, just a raw resin mock-up of it, the way it looks. It just looks, I don't know, it looks crazy. But man, I'm almost here. I'm almost to where I need to be. I hope I didn't bore you guys. Man, I kind of went on a little tangent. I hope I didn't sound like a rant at the end right there. I mean, I'm not trying to like, I'm just trying to motivate you guys. All right. At the end there, like, don't hold back. If there's something you really want, just go and grab it. Get that thing. You know? Because I don't know why do we wait? Why? You know, if we've paid the rent, there's groceries there, all my bills have been paid for and everything, and I put some money to save on the side, and like whatever I want is like, damn, it's just right there. Why not just go for it and cop it? Get that thing, you know? Do it up. So those are my 2 cents right there. But I'll leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Enjoy the long weekend. And before I go, we're also having a 4th of July sale that started a couple days ago, and it's going on all until the 5th. And it's selected items 25% off. So go on the website, you'll see the link that will take you to the selected items. Once you're in there, you'll be able to browse everything. Whatever you see in that selected items, just add to cart and it'll do the automatic discount. So it's going to be 25% off. I saw some model kits that I believe the ones that are like $39.99, it's about like a $10 off. It was down to like $29. I was like, damn, that's dope. But just take advantage of it if you want to like stock up on some kits. I threw a little bit of everything in there. Everything from kits to paints to tools. What else? A little bit of everything's in there. Some Gundam stuff too, if you want to do something different. You know, no code needed. So just add to cart and you're good to go right there. So it's 25% off. I very rarely do sell with that big of a percentage. The 25. I think, what's the next one? Like maybe when Black Friday. So we still got a long time. Honestly too, as far as like other holidays, I'm not really too fond of like trying to do too many sales. I mean, I understand, like, you know, it's a thing that all stores do and this and this and that, but you know what? It's a lot of work. Like, I'm trying to do all these things and then because sometimes I'm like so focused with work and other stuff, I'm not even paying attention, and then a holiday creeps up and I'm like, oh dang, tomorrow's a holiday, you know? And it's just so much, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, it just seems like too much of a reach. I know you guys probably don't want to hear that because it's like I'm telling you more on the perspective from a vendor as opposed to from the consumer, but it's just like you pay attention to certain stores, and there's some stores that never have nothing on sale, but they sell some dope stuff. And I mean, I'm still gonna buy it regardless or whatever, you know. And then you see other stores and they're just like liquidating. You go, damn, like overnight, like what the heck, what's going on, you know? And I don't know. I mean, it's just, I'm just really being really choosy with when is a cool time to have a sale and when not, you know? Because there's just too many holidays, and now that it's just getting ridiculous. There's a holiday for like every little thing now, to the point where we're gonna get to a point where every business is like, we're all gonna just close, you know, the whole year. The whole year is gonna be a holiday. I just don't get it. I mean, and the reason why I say that, making it sound like that, is because one day there was a holiday and I went to the post and the post was closed, and I was like, what the hell? Like, all of a sudden people are celebrating like holidays, and it's happened many times through the year that I'm like, what the heck? Like, a lot of stores are open, like I'm still open, like what's going on, you know? But whatever, it is what it is, you know. I'm not gonna change anything. I have no control over that, but the sale's going on right now, going down. You know, whatever, just check it out. If you see something that sparks your interest, that probably you've been looking for, it's gonna be right there. But thank you guys for the support as always. And please keep building, keep that mind busy, you know, keep working out those muscles in the brain. Think of concepts, think of what's something new you want to introduce to this model game. Information, tips, share. You know, there's just so many things that you put it out there, and it's definitely going to help another modeler as well. All right, guys. Have a good weekend. Be safe out there. Stay tuned. Peace out.